I've always loved connecting with kids. I truly believe all kids have potential. They just need the kind of encouragement I got to bring it out.
To try and teach someone with the kind of attitude that some of the members showed up with had to take a tremendous amount of compassion and patience. He was simply a great person. He really was.
He sacrificed so much for the sake of others.
Even then, I could see they needed help. Many of them didn't have fathers. They just needed a little love and guidance.
Joe was really like a father to me, and I had a wonderful father, but it was almost like I had two fathers because he guided everybody.
I could ask him anything, and when he spoke to you, you really, for that moment, really felt like you were the most important person in the world. Didn't matter who you were.
My relationship with Joe LaPenza spanned about 47 years. And he was not only my mentor, he was my friend, he was my second dad, and he was my guardian angel.
And a lot of us said that he was like a father to us, you know, and I can see that most people would feel that way. We relied on him quite a bit.
Everybody felt like he gave you his full attention.
He didn't judge people. It didn't matter who you were, where you came from, what you had. He would always say, you can be whatever you want.
What I liked about Joe the best was that he was a very kind, dedicated person, very caring. And he always put everybody, especially the kids, before himself. And I thought that was just admirable, and I respected him so much for that.
When he came into the club, it was just, you knew he was there. He had that vibrant energy, and all the kids were very responsive.
He always asked you how you were. It was never business first. It was always about you.
He made every single person feel like you were special.
He just did it out of the goodness of his heart. He was always above and beyond the call of duty.
He never did it for the attention. He always did it just because that was what he really cared about, and he wanted to make a difference at all levels of his impact at the Boys and Girls Club.
He wasn't always Papa Joe. When he first came to the club, he was just Joe, a Hartford kid who loved sports and excelled at ping pong.
Way back, 45 years ago. But one day I walked into the Boys and Girls Club, and I heard the sound of a ping pong game going. And it didn't sound like a regular ping pong game. It was like, you know, ding, ding. I'm like, what in the world is that? So I went over and I wanted to see what was going on. And there were four guys playing, and Joe was one of the two guys on one side, and he was using a frying pan as his paddle. And he beat the other team. Dink. It was hysterical. We were like, he beat you with a frying pan. That was him.
He also had a knack for bringing out the best in kids.
If it wasn't for my lifelong involvement with Joe, I don't think that I would be sitting where I'm sitting today. He touched my life in many ways, but more importantly, he was someone that I wanted to be like.
I've been honored in many ways. I've always worked at the club, and it's been my life.
The majority of the children and the boys and girls that came to the club really respected Joe. I think that was the big thing. They respected Joe, and they respected him being tough because it proved in later life that they made a success of themselves.
Over the years, some 60 plus, what started as a part-time job grew to a lifelong mission to serve Hartford and its kids.
The most important lesson that I learned from Joe was the obligation and the need to give back because he invested a lot of time and energy in us, and he always told us that, you know, you make sure you continue to do the same thing in the community.
The best thing that I can say about my involvement with the Boys and Girls Club when I was a kid is the fact that as I got older, I remembered the lessons that he tried to teach me, and I applied the things that I learned.
And I don't think you find people like him every day. If someone were to ask me what I would want to be when I grew up, it would be like Mr. Joe.
Joe eventually rose to become not only the youngest executive director in club history, but also the only one to have started as a club kid.
I'm not sure I know how to sum up a person who meant so much to so many people. I think he was just a loving, caring person who realized how badly he was needed.
As he was growing near to passing, I would tell him, I said, Joe, I really need you to understand that I'm really thankful for all that you did in my life. And he, to the very end, it wasn't me, it was you. Okay, you win.
Joe was the kind of person, he just wasn't going to waste his time on this earth. He just didn't do it. For decades, he was there for all of us.
He was the stable piece that was always, at the club. And as much as he's left a legacy, it's definitely a gap that has not been filled, but I don't think ever will be filled because he's always going to be our Papa Joe.
He's gone, but his legacy will live on.
A great man. A great man.
The man meant a lot. And I'll carry with me the rest of my life.
He was a man of great character. That's what I would say.
From the boy who loved ping pong to the man who was a friend and father to thousands, Joseph D. LaPenta Jr. was one in a million. He was our Papa Joe.
I'd like to be remembered as the guy who didn't think he knew everything, but always gave challenges his best shot.